You guys all here. It's Cindy. Today's topic: how to get over the feeling of being lost. If you're watching on social media, leave me a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave us a comment. Share under your social media and tag me because you can win something every week. And who doesn't love winning something? I know I do. All right, let's everybody get in their good mornings here. There's our good morning. All right, Dusty Dog, I'm sure is going to join us at some time, but he's busy watching the neighborhood. All right, so how to avoid getting over the feeling of being lost. And I'm going to start out with a story. When I was learning how to drive, my mom and dad taught me how to read city maps and an atlas. And I guess I'll tell you the difference just in case you don't know them. Like a city map will have all the streets of the city you are. So like think of the big city that you're at. It will literally have every street on there. An atlas is the big overview of like interstates and highways. So it's not going to give you the turn by turn when you get into a little town, but it's going to give you the overview that say you could travel from the Midwest all the way to the South by reading an atlas. And I always carried an atlas in the car, and me to this day, I have an atlas in the car too, because I'm a big believer in technology, but I'm also a big believer in technology is only as good as its signal. So I'd still like to know where I'm going so you don't have that feeling of being lost. And I don't ever know when it started, why I always felt like I needed to make sure I know directions really well so I didn't feel lost. But I guess that's the feeling I had. I never wanted to be lost, so I was excellent at navigating. So when I was younger, my mom and dad, my dad was always the driver most of the time, and my mom was the navigator. She was in charge of reading the map. So we'd go to foreign countries, rent a car, and they would just get a map of the area and off they went. And I thought they knew everything about it. But they equipped themselves with the skills of not being afraid, and willing to take a chance in a foreign country with a rental car, and using the navigation skills to get around because we got to see more of the things because you were not limited to a tour group or a guide or something like that. You just off you went. And when I sat in the back seat, I was like, man, my mom and dad know how to get around everywhere. I never felt the sense that, oh my gosh, they're lost or they made a wrong turn or they didn't know where they were going. If they did that, they just turn around and came back the same way we went. And I realized that not everybody had that same kind of thing. It wasn't I see people on the road all the time, like they missed the exit. So they'll go across 7 lanes of traffic, risking their life and everybody on their lanes of traffic to get off. I was like, you just go to the next exit, go over the overpass, turn around, go out to the next path, and you get off at the exit that you really wanted to get off at. There's no need to endanger your life, but I don't know how people got afraid of making a U-turn. Just go to the next exit and get off. All right, so when my dad taught me how to drive, he would always take me one way to a place, and then on the way back, he would show me a different way. So I never went to the same way twice on a trip. Like we never went one way to get there and the same way to come back. And I guess that made me adaptable because I had to be paying attention. Because we weren't like, oh, I'm just going back the same way we came. It was, oh, no, here's a new way. So when I became a teenager and worked downtown for like my first summer jobs, and the city traffic, I mean, this was years ago, city traffic was crazy for those standards. So people would set hours extra driving home, sitting in traffic because you know what they knew? Here, I'll lean in and tell you. They only knew one way to get home. I guess their dad was not named Harry and didn't teach them all the different ways. So I am here, Cindy, to be the way to teach you different ways in life. So I would get off, and there was no less than 15 different ways to get home. Some ways you wanted to choose. Some ways you could choose based on what exit you're near to get home and not have to sit in the road. These skills came in handy recently when we took a trip halfway across the country and came back, that it added 4 or 5 hours to our trip this year because there's so many people on the road and they haven't quite kept up with expanding the roads. So now we have technology to do it. I have my brain and my experience to do it, that we were able to get off some roads and lessen our trip. So what was 3 extra hours really should have been like 6 or 7 extra hours. But we chose to have faith and belief. We got off on the roads and we did some detours just so we were not sitting there. I'm a big believer in as long as you're moving forward, is much better than just sitting there standing still. I would much rather have to go take a lane that seems longer than it is for me to just sit there and stare at the taillights of the car in front of me. I just can't stand it. I'm always like that. I've taught Ellie very well that sometimes the longest way is the shortest way. It might be more miles, but time wise, it is shorter. And if you've ever heard any video I've ever said is time is the most precious commodity you have. Once you spend your time, you never get it back. You can always make more money. You can always do things. But once you spend your time, it is up. All right. So if you want to join our group, Moms in the Middle, it's all moms between aging parents and young kids. Join our Moms in the Middle. And I'll finish with one more story. Several years ago, for some reason, I was driving back from my mom and dad's house for the long 12 plus hour drive home. And I got all the way down to the mountains of Tennessee, and we climbed up the mountain, and then we discovered that the road was shut down for icy conditions going down the mountain. I'm sure there was icy conditions going up the mountain, but something was blocking the way to go down. So I'm here sitting on the top of a mountain in the middle of Tennessee. I'm a good 15 hours into a 12-hour trip, and I had 2 dogs in the car with me. I was equipped with a CB radio, a cell phone that was the early age cell phone, so it was come and go. And I had a decision to make. I heard truck drivers chatting on the CB radio, and they were going to get off and take the highway that you used to go through as opposed to the interstate of the thing. And they were going to get off. And it was only 2 truck drivers and myself that we got off of this thing, because here's was our choice again. And it's very much an analogy for life. I could sit overnight in the freezing rain, top of a mountain with the icy conditions in a car by myself with 2 dogs, or I could get off and take the whole highway, which is now like the back roads, to see if I could get off the mountain and out of town, and at least to a place where if I had to stay the night in a hotel, that was available. So I rolled the dice, followed the 2 truck drivers all the way through the highway down the mountain. And mind you, it was wintry weather. And we got down, I got into the city of Chattanooga. I was able to get all my way back to Atlanta with no issues, other than that trip probably took 20 hours, and it's regularly a 12-hour trip. But I didn't get myself stuck on a mountain. I didn't stay stuck on the mountain. I followed my instincts and my feelings and let my family members know that, hey, this is what I'm doing. I have a way to communicate if I need to. I have a way to listen to truck drivers if I need to, and I cannot get stuck on this mountain. I don't have to be stuck. And that's what I did. So that's how it is for everything. Take our life lessons that we have, and we learn from them. And I love you guys, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.